And I believe we decided 1994 the other day when you asked me, Larry, or somebody else. Bill asked me, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
I looked it up, past president in 94, this association. And I had Judge Rice as one of my speakers. We've known each other a long time. And I'm happy to be here today.
My name is Donna Jacobini, and I'm president of the Riverdale Optimist Club. We currently meet every Thursday at Harrigan's in Kettering. One of our members is a part owner of it, Dave Harrigan. And we recently had a successful, very successful baseball tournament with building bridges. And Ryan Kramer is a member of our club, and he was the leader of that. It was really successful. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to have you folks. Thank you for your service.
I'm Tony Massoud. I'm currently a vice president of the President's Club of Dayton and past president. I'm secretary of the Civitan Club of Dayton, a secretary for the Dayton Urban American Forum, also a member of Miami Valley Military Affairs Association. And the Service Club is all about volunteerism with the Civitans. This year, we're celebrating our 100th anniversary here in Dayton as a charter service club. It'll be October 23rd. And also, we are sponsoring a Quackers event for supporting the United Rehabilitation Services. They are the organization that takes care of infants and up to seniors with disabilities. And you can join our event next Thursday night at Uno's. Anyone who buys a Quack Pack or more can come for a free drink and free appetizers from 6 to 6:30 us to 7:30 p.m. at Uno's. And you can order your ducks online or take a flyer, and as long as you buy them through Civitan, we're trying to raise at least $2,000 for URS.
And when is this party again?
August 26th at Uno's Pizzeria downtown.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. And next on our agenda is the appreciation breakfast we had at Cole's.
What about
Oh,
us?
Well, yeah, we got, okay, go ahead, ladies. We got more people on.
Oh, people online.
Yeah, Veronica, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica Nevels, and I'm a member, past president of Twin Tig Incorporated, and a member of the board for the President's Club, and the president of the Ohio Realtist Association. And happy that you all are there. Wish I could be. And happy that we have this technology that we can still share in the event. Thank you.
And then Khadijah.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Can't hear you, Khadijah.
Hold on a minute. Can you hear me now?
A little more.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear her over there? Very little, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm trying. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to the President's Club. It's really good to see everyone. Judge Rice, Sheriff Streck, thank you for coming to speak. Can you hear me?
Can you shout? She wants to welcome everyone. Go ahead.
Welcome, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Keep it up. Go
Okay,
ahead.
this is the Khadijah voice you'll hear today, okay? Okay, my name is Khadijah Ali. I'm past president of the President's Club, and I'm on the board. I'm also past president and president-elect for the Exchange Club of Dayton. And we're going to be having our installation ceremony sometime in September, and we'd like to invite everybody to that. We're also going to be starting to collect hats, scarves, and gloves for on Thanksgiving Day. We give them out every year to children at the Dayton Convention Center at the Feast of Giving, if they have it this year. So, you know, and I'm just welcome everybody. Bye.
Hold on. Did everybody hear what her club is doing? The
No.
Exchange Club is collecting scarves and blankets and handing them out. Thanksgiving, Khadijah?
Thanksgiving Day
convention.
at the Dayton Convention Center, but it's
At the
headscarves
Dayton
and gloves for children.
Yeah, Khadijah's going to send me a flyer on this and I'll put it in the newsletter, right, Khadijah?
Exactly.
Okay. And I will also ask Pell and any other organizations, if you have an event or fundraising for your organization coming up, send me a PDF flyer, a photo or something, one page, and you'll go in the next month's newsletter. So you want to get it to me in advance. Okay? And I know that there are a lot of things going on, like I've been putting in our last newsletter, we had a number of events, and they're really good organization events raising funds or something to make people aware of of a nonprofit they're trying to help. Kel, your Lions Club, your Optimist Club.
Are you asking now?
Yeah, if you have anything you might want to.
Yes, we have, our Dayton Lions Club has an annual, canceled last year because of COVID, an annual dinner for disabled Dayton children, disadvantaged kids at the Presidential. I don't know the December date, but it's going to be a Christmas luncheon. We give approximately $15 to $30 gifts that the kids in the Dayton school system ask for. We donate that to them. We have a wrapping party. We have a Lions Club wrapping party private and wrap gifts and give out to the kids. Typically, it's going to be the Thursday, 2 weeks before Christmas. I don't know that date at the Presidential. And I would like to invite the sheriff and anybody from Powell to be my guest at that dinner. I will make sure that you get the dates because I appreciate your service to the community and what you do for disabled kids. But it's sponsored by the Dayton Lions Club. Approximately 70 kids attend with their sponsor, either their mother, dad, or caregiver, and about 10 people from the Dayton school administrative system. So we have about 150 to 200 people spending each year, and it's at the Presidential, where we just had our Presidential President's Club breakfast.
If you send me a flyer on it, we'll get it posted.
As soon as I get it, Tony, I will. Sure.
Donna, you have anything?
Not at this time.
Okay.
And that's free to the kids and free to their sponsors. That's our major project, that's Dayton Lions Club.
Okay. Hal has anything?
Thank you.
We don't have anything up for me right now. We do some holiday giving for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we're trying to iron out the details.
Okay.
So our board meetings are the first Wednesday of every month. So on September 1st, hopefully we get those ironed out and we'll get the
Good.
information to you.
And I will add that the sheriff has a golf outing coming up.
Yes, yes.
That's, yeah, that's.
All right.
Where?
Anything?
Yes, Dayton Urban Young Life has a fundraiser coming up Thursday, October the 21st this year. It's a wine tasting event. Our guest speaker would be Coach Grant from UD.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Yes, he is. Oh, by the way, they said to say hello to you.
Would you tell her I love her, I miss her, and that's the first time I've ever had trouble hearing her.
Khadijah, you hear that?
I
Khadijah, you hear?
did. I did. Bless his heart. I
Bless
love
her
him
heart.
too.
She loves you too, and I love you too. We go back to Pittsburgh. Right, Steelers and great. They're gonna be good this year.
Well,
I'm a good quarterback.
I was gonna mention the appreciation breakfast at Kohler's that we had Wednesday, was
Last Thursday.
it? Last Thursday, a week ago today, called the Outstanding Volunteer Awards Breakfast. This is the brochure from it. And the sheriff was there, and I think you two were there, and Donna was there. Where's your, no, Donna wasn't.
No, but Rod was there.
And I was there.
Yeah, that's what their certificate looks like. We gave 20 of those
Nice.
certificates out,
31.
31 of those certificates out. Thank you. There were 20 clubs there.
26.
I'll be proud to say this is my third for my life.
Oh, okay, very good. Very good. Each club picks a volunteer that has done something special over the last few years for that club. And they get a certificate and a free breakfast. And a fellow named Phil Parker was the speaker at that. I think you've all heard of him, someplace or the other. But it worked out very nicely. And next thing I wanted to mention was a Legion of Honor luncheon, October 7th. And that's at the Dayton Convention Center. And as you know, we give an award to that. And the person that's been selected to receive the award is retired Lieutenant General Richard Reynolds from Wright-Patterson Air Force, the Air Force General. And it's been in the President's Club newsletter last month.
Yes.
Last month. This is copies of it. And of course, you're all invited to come. I think usually you're there, aren't you?
Yeah,
And I
he's
know-
a
I know you're
recipient.
there usually.
Well, Larry, our honorable judge is a recipient
Yeah.
of the most prestigious award in this whole state.
In the whole state. I think Judge Rice also is.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the sheriff. I'm sorry.
Honorable, well, the sheriff's honorable too.
Sometimes.
Depends on what group I'm with.
Well, we've covered several of these things. Anyway, you're all invited to the lunch. I think Pal usually shows up at that luncheon. I don't know. And the Lions Club usually show up. We usually have around 350 people come to that luncheon at the convention center. So,
Larry, by the way, started giving out the scholarships when we started.
1991.
And I want to just mention that, what we did.
How many do you plan to give this year, Larry?
4,
At $2,000?
2.5, 2,500.
$10,000.
$10,000.
But we are going to give in the interest of education.
We gave it last year also, even though the pandemic canceled our luncheon.
These were high school students?
Sinclair.
Sinclair
I mean, to
College.
go to college.
Yeah, Sinclair, well, any age
Right.
can win it. The students at Sinclair have to put in for the scholarship at their scholarship office at the school.
Mhm.
And the school picks the 4 winners. And what we ask them to do is pick people who have volunteered services to the community. And we get from fresh, but have to be past your freshman year. So we get sophomores, but they can be any age. We get people from 19 years old to 45 years old, I guess, about the oldest one. we've ever had. I'm sorry, I see somebody new came in.
Yes, I just got out of a board meeting and came running over here, so.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Margaret Bruckmeyer. I'm the current president of the Women's Club of Dayton. Thank you, and thank you for my award. And I'm with the Civicon group, and I've got a punch in that they are going to be having their regional meeting despite COVID. So I belong to a very great group of men and women of the Civicon. I'll see you Saturday.
So you're here because of the Civitan Club,
Mhm.
but you're at the Women's Club too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like your speakers, you wear many hats.
Yeah, okay.
Just tell me which one I'm supposed to wear and I'll be okay.
I thought I've seen you at the Women's Club.
And then I'll encourage you on 9/11, come out to the VA, you'll see a new hat there. So I'm with Judge Atkins's group, who's doing the Ride to Honor group, which is a 100-mile police escorted ride that will also take advantage also of having the Patriots salute event going on the campus with the American Presbyterian Center. Anyone's welcome to do that. I'm in charge of the rest of it.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
So the next thing pretty well on the menu is the program, but should we wait till after we eat?
That's your call, sir. We can go now or we can wait.
Have you ordered lunch at all?
I just was dropping in and dropping back out.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I thought usually you start at 12:30, so I wanted to make sure I made it for the program.
Good timing.
Maybe-
You want to speak as you eat or wait? It's up to you, sir.
Whatever, it's totally up to you.
Totally up to you.
We can start, we can eat afterwards, or we can eat first.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna tell a joke. I'm gonna
Okay.
eat, and whatever takes place after eating or doing eating, I'm okay with.
All right.
In your 3 minutes and 20 seconds, you're gonna tell a joke.
No, I'm gonna tell jokes as long as I'm sitting next to you, because I know that's part of your cake. I'm okay with, like I said, you're in your house, whatever you decide.
Well, go ahead and start then.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for inviting us to talk a bit about Dayton Urban Young Life, an organization that we call DUYL. Dayton Urban Young Life is a faith-centered group that works with young people of high school age in the inner city. It's an urban initiative. And through caring, compassion, and respect, we try to show these young men and women what their world could be and what their potential is. I'm involved in Dayton Urban Young Life for several reasons. First of all, it dawned on me several years ago that I was sentencing people who were the children and grandchildren of people I had sentenced when I first became a judge in 1969 and the early 70s. And I'm certain by now that I've sentenced some great children. I say that not proudly. I'm also involved with Dayton Urban Young Life for another reason. More than occasionally, I meet someone in my courtroom that I have to sentence, and I always talk with the men and women before I impose sentence, just to find out about them, find out if I can what caused them to be before the judge. And after a minute or two, it dawns on me that this young man, this young woman, is probably the smartest person in the courtroom. Not the person with the most common sense, or he or she wouldn't be where he finds himself, but in terms of raw intellectual brain power, probably the smartest. And this is a courtroom filled with lawyers, prosecutors, probation officers, pretrial officers, and the judge. And more often than not.
May I interrupt you?
Sure.
I want this group to know, and everybody listening, Judge didn't properly introduce himself. This is a man who's retired federal judge in America, one of the 900 most important people we have in America. And he has not only done a wonderful job, I believe, succeeding Judge Rubin.
I succeeded Judge Rubin in Dayton in 1980. Yes.
In 1980, he succeeded federal judge Carl Rubin in 1980 and has done a wonderful job for Dayton and his circuit court area, federal judge court area. And I personally, and everybody at this table should appreciate his dedication to community service. He's been at least a half a dozen community service meetings that I've been to, and Judge, we appreciate it. And I also appreciate your humility in respect to what you've done in our community. He's provided excellent law enforcement decisions in the community. He has had a compassionate career in trying to rehabilitate beginning criminals, medium criminals, and career criminals to get back to society. We appreciate that. But back to Judge Price.
Can I make I don't think you're retired. You're still as active as I know, and your caseload is phenomenal. And when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Let's give him a hand.
Thank you both. Thank you both. I was mentioning that oftentimes the person before me for sentencing was the most intelligent in terms of sheer brain power of anyone in the courtroom. Yet, all too often, these are men and women who been involved with juvenile court, adult court. These are people who live on the margins of society. And if they're employed, it's often in low skilled, minimum wage jobs. And they're not bad people, the overwhelming percentage. They're men and women who, because of how they were raised and how they came of age, simply face insurmountable obstacles, not of their own choosing, obstacles that I personally could not have surmounted. And they really, and I'm not excusing the crimes they committed, but they really had very little, if any, chance. We're blessed in this community because we have probably the best juvenile court judge and the best juvenile court in the country. And I mean that sincerely.
Say that again, Judge.
Well, I feel that we have the best juvenile court judge, and I'm not ignoring Judge Wallace, but I'm speaking specifically of Judge Peasy, and the best juvenile court in the country. And they do a marvelous job of diverting young people from the criminal justice system. But they can't do it alone. There's simply too many young people that are beyond the number that the juvenile court can't help. So these young people have faced insurmountable obstacles that I personally could not have overcome when I was coming up. And they find themselves before the court for sentencing. These are young people who could have been doctors, lawyers, accountants, business people, anything that they might have wanted to be. And we have a responsibility. We must break this generational cycle. We have to, not just for their sakes, although their interests are paramount, but for our sakes as well, as a community and a society. Because we need these young people to reach their potential. We need them at the table when important decisions are made. And we as a society cannot survive if so many young people don't reach, or at least have the opportunity to reach their own potential. Sheriff Rob Streck will take it from
So, thanks for having us here. I was first going to come in, I was going to talk about current trends with juveniles, gun violence and gang activity. And I kind of decided as negativity wasn't the route I wanted to take. So much like the Honorable Judge just talked about, I wanted to kind of relay some of the things we deal with. So, the sheriff's office is much more than just a police department. I have a road patrol of over 200 deputies, and that's not even my largest division. So, there's all kinds of facets that we do throughout the community. I got involved with Young Life through our previous sheriff, now State Representative Phil Plummer. He was active in it, got me active in it. When I became the sheriff, I stayed with it. And it all really stemmed from one night of being at a Young Life board meeting. And in 26 years, I've worked some pretty active areas in our community. I'm not naive. I've dealt with some of the worst crimes you can deal with, to dealing with people whose neighbors park in front of their house too much during the week, so it's a big gambit. So I've been around, and it was at a Young Life board meeting where someone made the comment, and I finally realized, even throughout my life and my career, that we have young men and women who have never left their block. So I grew up in a small town up in northern Montgomery County. My mom and dad both worked full-time. Every year they would take me and my sister on a vacation. Throughout the year, we would have sporting events that we may go somewhere for the weekend. And, we weren't rich, we weren't out running around the world, but we were able to get out. And it really surprised me, even at that age, where I realized that for a lot of kids in our community, the idea of staying in a motel room, seeing the ocean, or even going to an Ohio State football game is not even in their imagination, because they could never see themselves doing that. Obviously, we want them to have the opportunities with people like Malcom, who you're going to hear for, who does amazing things, who are showing these young men and women that, yeah, you could go to college, you could develop a trade. We have to get them realizing that the more people we get realizing that they do have a future and that they can hope and dream about doing some stuff, that takes the pressure off of my job. Obviously, we deal with juveniles when it comes to law enforcement, and then juvenile court, they can come to me even when they're 14 and 15 because they can come to an adult court or an adult jail now from juvenile. So all of these things wrap in together. But the reason I have stayed so interested in Dayton Urban Young Life, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but Malcom is taking and building relationships with some of the juveniles out there in our area that could become very big problems for us, for the courts, things like that. But he is stopping it young because he's giving them hope. So that's where I'm at. It's like, I want every kid in our community to realize that they have the same opportunities as my two boys. My two boys are now adults. So that's where I'm at. I thank Malcom for all that. That's why we're here. Hopefully the service clubs hear about Dayton Urban Young Life, and we're here to kind of make a plea ask us to come to your clubs where we can talk about whatever you want about Urban Young Life. There's so many things they do, but thanks for having me. But we got to get these kids realizing that they have a future and get rid of this you only live once mentality out of their heads. Thanks.
If everybody could really just turn to page 2 of that folder that I gave. We're a Christian teen mentoring program. We catch 8th graders in that summer before they get into high school. That's like a critical time in their life. And one of the things we do is on page 2, where all the pictures just shows contact work. We have this relationship building method, and it's called contact work. Basically what we do is literally, that's about maybe half of the things we do with brand new freshmen into high school. And our whole goal is to, of course, share the gospel of Christ with the teenager. That's the easy part. But with the kids that we're servicing, like the sheriff said, they're lacking exposure in other things. We create our own workshops and fun activities for the kids to do during the course of a entire school year. Our adult leaders build relationships with the kids, we build relationships with the parents, and from that point we become surrogate moms and dads and big brothers and big sisters. I'm like the father to a whole bunch of kids. And the goal is to, of course, share the gospel with them, but spend the next 4 years in high school with them. And be that advocate, be that person that listens, to be that free Uber driver, to be that person that takes them to Wendy's, to be that person that's going to pray with them, to ride bikes with them, with the sole purpose of helping them become better citizens here in the United States, and of course, hear about the gospel of Christ. It's a mentoring program. It's and it lasts literally past 4 years. It's been around since 1941. We started in 2015, and we now have college students that are now graduating and moving back to the Dayton area to assist us in what we do. So nothing really special to share. You have in your hands everything that our whole entire program is about, and I'm up for questions.
Where's your home base?
I'm gonna give you the home base before the pandemic, and I'm gonna give you the home base during the pandemic, and I'm gonna give you the home base after the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we met at Central State University on Germantown, the old Reynolds and Reynolds building. We was housed there every Monday evening for 3 hours. From 6 to 7, the kids would show up for Bible study. Anybody want to hear anything about Christ or God, they would show up there. We would have probably 30 kids show up, high school teens show up. From 7 to 8:30, we would hire a DJ. He would come in and he would play all their nasty music and mix it with religious music. And before you know it, the kids didn't know what they were listening to for the most part. And during that next 90 minutes, adults would be playing games with the kids. We would be playing chess, jump rope, Connect Four, or just talking about life and whatnot. And we would end the night around 8:30 with feeding them. And each Monday we would have anywhere from 60, 70 high school kids from all the high schools, Dayton Public High School, show up. And that takes place the whole entire school year. Every Monday, about 36, 37 Mondays out of the school year. And that was our home base before the pandemic. After the pandemic, believe it or not, we met at Wendy's on James H. McGee in smaller numbers because we had to reduce the size. So the manager at the Wendy's at James H. McGee let us come in there with like 10 to 12 kids at a time. Cracker Barrel on Miller Lane became our house. And they let us bring about 20 kids in their little back room. Christian Life Center on Little York Road became our base. The Living Word Church in Vandalia became a housing spot for us. And in the summertime, we met at Wickerson Garden Center, 5 Rivers Metro Park, outdoors. in their park area. So those are our areas before. Moving into the pandemic, into this new school year, we in talks with Dayton Metro Library to see if we could have our house our program in the main library downtown and at the Northwest Branch Plaza.
You're working on that now?
The new location? Yes, we're in talks as we speak right now. Matter of fact, when I leave here, I'm literally going to have part 2 of the discussion at Northwest Branch in Philadelphia.
I'm going to ask 2 quick questions.
Please.
How many people, kids, you mentioned 70 or 80, is kind of your scope?
Well, yes,
Do you recruit or do you just present a program and ask them to come?
it's like Noah's Ark, they just show up.
Just show up.
We do zero advertising.
What is your constituency in respect to race?
None,
White, black?
none.
I'm saying, what are you getting?
Our percentage right now is probably 80% black, 20% Hispanic and white. And that's really going to change in a big way because have plans to move into the east side on East 3rd Street into the Dream Center to handle the Belmont side, east side of Dayton, either January 1 or August 1 of next year. Our holdup has been the Dream Center. There's a church that's refurbishing. The Living Word Church is refurbishing a vacant building on the east side of Dayton that was literally supposed to be ready for us to move into August 1 of this year, but it's still under construction.
What's that street?
East 3rd Street, East 3rd, and I want to say Urban. Right, maybe a half a block south or coming west from Smithville. It used to be East Dayton Community Church, right down the corner of East 3rd and I want to say Urban Street, I think it is.
I'm real close to 3rd and Smithville.
So do you know the vacant church, if you're headed east on 3rd and you pass the new Dollar General, okay, there's a vacant church right there on the corner on the right-hand side. It used to be East 3rd Community Street Baptist Church. Before you hit the curve where Sam's Market is at.
I'm familiar with Sam's Market.
Okay, we'll come back from Sam's and go up from Dollar General. There's a church right on the right-hand side. The whole goal is to get Dayton Urban Young Life in each high school. We have all the high schools coming to one centralized location. Our goal is to get Dayton Urban Young Life in each high school.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do the kids get to your location?
Like Noah's Ark, they just come.
None of them.
I mean, they just show up. Our biggest problem is getting them home, especially when in the wintertime when it gets dark. Our leaders literally pile up their car and make 1-2 trips, taking kids home for the ones that just show up. And that's one of our biggest problems right there is transportation, getting kids home. They just show up. And think about it, look at it this way. If you were a kid and you going somewhere that's fun, you're gonna invite your friends. So that's what they do. They invite their friends and they just show up.
Like Noah's Ark, they show up 2 by 2.
2 by 2, 3 by 3. And here's how it looks at the end of Monday night. We have a leader calling a parent to let them know your kid here is at Central State University. They need a ride home. Are you coming to get them? They're like, no, I didn't tell them he could go. You okay with us bringing them home? I don't care where you take them. So we take them home and drop off literature about who we are in the mailbox and go
One
home.
more question.
Yes.
What's your mission statement?
To share the gospel of Jesus Christ and help a kid grow in their faith. That's it.
Do you have more copies of your booklet?
The academic piece, the page 2 piece of what you see in page 2, that's just added things that we do with the kids because the kids come to us lacking so much, like the sheriff said. We have kids that literally don't leave their neighborhood. and to hop in the car with us. Here's a true story. I took 3 kids to Stebbins High School to witness a robotic competition from DeSoto Bass Projects. We get on Route 4 and they see the Columbus sign from DeSoto Bass, West Dayton to Route 4, Columbus sign to Stebbins. They thought we were in Columbus. That's how bad.
I have a couple questions from the chats. One, wanted me to mention that our honorable judge was also, I think, the founder of the reform program for the prisoners. Reentry program, when we mentioned that. And also, they'd like a copy of your booklet.
If you have an email address or a physical address, I would give them. I would take a copy to them or email it to them.
I'll give you that.
Okay. I would prefer a physical address so I could meet them and shake their hands and
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
so we might pass each other in Walmart one day and we can at least say hi. I do a lot of home visits. As the director, I visit the house of every kid that's part of our program.
Wow.
I mean, that's my mission. So if your son or daughter is showing up at our program, you don't know anything about us, but your kid's coming to someplace that's safe. I'm gonna connect with you, Rodney, and say, I'm gonna give you what I just gave you, and I'm gonna say, here's what we do. And it's okay for your kid to come, and if you're okay, it's okay for our kids, our leads to take them home. They all background check. They're all have taken driving tests. Young Life pays for insurance if something happens as far as the car accident. So everything's safe on that end. We just want to let you know where your kid is.
My last question, I'll shut up.
You don't have to.
Are you having anybody?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Here's a true story, another true story. 3 years ago, there was a cell phone store robbed in Miamisburg. The kids ended up crashing a car right here by UD 975. Those 4 kids used to come to Young Life. 2 of them didn't go that day because that night we had our club campaigners meeting. 2 of them went and they're now sitting in jail. So that's impact because the 2 that are sitting in jail wish they had came to our club and campaigners that night like the other 2. So yes, we are having an impact. Another true story, impact as far as eternal salvation for those that believe in heaven and hell. There was 2 kids, or actually 3 kids, they were smoking marijuana in a vacant car in a garage where the owner came out and shot and killed 2 of them. Those were my mentees. So we're having an impact because 2 days before that occurred, both of the individuals that were shot and killed, they accepted Christ as their Savior at a Burger King on Brown Street. And they were in the process of one going to Liberty to start his high school career back again because they both had dropped it out. And the other just wanted to hang out, just to hang out. But if you believe in God and you believe in salvation, that's impact there. Number 3, we have 3 individuals. One of our leaders just drove down to Alabama A&M this coming school year. Neither of the 3 parents had transportation to get down there. One of our leaders took the initiative to take 3 high school seniors that just graduated in May and get them set up into college at Alabama A&M. That's our 5th student down there. As far as counting college, we have actually 17 students in college since 2015. It may seem like a small number, but for us, we actually brag to say they wouldn't be in school if it wasn't for us.
Yeah, it started somewhere.
We have kids in Central State. We have a bunch of kids working at P&G and Fuyao. So those are the success stories, having them have bank accounts. We read over, when one of our kids get a job at anywhere, we read over the employment manual to find out, here, you don't have to call in sick when you get vacation days, the sick day, or join this 401k plan. We explain those type of activities and those benefits to the kids. So it's for me, being a director, I turn everything into I'm their dad. And I shared it with our leaders, that that's how we're gonna run this operation, as far as away from the mission statement. I'm their dad, so we're gonna do dad, father and son and daughter type of thing. Same thing I do with my own
Do you have
kids.
an internal board or do you have an outreach?
We actually have a committee, and I've learned that there's a difference between a board and a committee. And we actually have a committee that works. We get together to figure out fundraising, activities, things to do, strategic planning on where we're gonna move, how we're gonna move. You're more than welcome to contact me if you're looking to join a committee. We have two of our committee members here right now, Judge Rice and Sheriff Streck. Here's what the biggest issue or the biggest problem is. I could open up the gates and this thing could grow like crazy. And the problem is having an organized structure plan in place to handle the growth. We purposely in the last 6 years have kept the lid on the pot because we don't have enough dedicated leaders. And what I mean by dedicated leaders, we need someone that's gonna spend 2 to 6 hours a week with 1 to 3 kids for an entire school year. That's what we ask for. If you can't do that, thank you. But you can help in other ways. But once we get that help changes lives. That helps a kid say, okay, I do want to push to graduate high school. That helps a young man pulling up his pants. That helps, okay, I'm not gonna cuss this person out all the time. I'm gonna cuss them out 50% of the time.
I have some more
Yeah.
questions.
Oh, okay. And you can let everybody know I'm free for lunch that I'll pay for to meet anybody in this room to get deeper. So
Okay, here's a couple questions. Khadijah wants to know if you're familiar with Montgomery County Fatherhood Initiative.
Mike Newsom, I gave him 2 boys just yesterday. He was at Soda Bass. I went and picked up 2 young men that are getting ready to have a baby, and I introduced them to Mike Newsom. They exchanged telephone numbers just yesterday at the Soda Bass. The answer is yes.
Okay, and the other question, who prepares the meals for the kids?
Wendy's, Walmart.
Do they give you like a
We-
discount or?
No, we asked for gift cards, literally. We asked for, a great thing would be if anybody can donate $15 gift cards. What we would do, an adult leader, to spend that time during the week, if they go pick up 3 young ladies and take them to a Dunbar football, basketball game or whatever, they will get a $15 gas card and a $20 gift card. That our leaders are mostly people, matter of fact, they are people that work, but they're also college students. So college students don't have
Money, yeah.
right. So to give them a $15 gas card and a $20 gift card, they love going to pick up 3 to 4 kids and go to a high school football game and then go to Wendy's afterwards. And all during that time, think about that. That takes place once a week, twice a week over the course of a school year. They're spending time with a college student and a Christian. So it's just that magnet connection that just takes place where a kid has a different mindset at the end of the school year.
Now I have a question. I'm familiar with the Victory Project.
Yes, Monty Bush.
Yes, building bridges, Pell, they all keep the kids off the street. And then, the Victory Project does a lot with mission work and so forth. Do you try to get them into one of those programs after they become of age?
Actually, 6 of our boys are already in the Victory Project as it is. Well, we focus on finding resources that already exist, and our leaders take them to them. We're that transportation.
You're the
Like
stepping
Montgomery
stone,
County
right?
Youth Resource Center, YL 360. All those resources, we take those kids participate. The only thing we create is something that doesn't exist. And I'm going to share something that's super serious. So everybody in this room, if you could do anything to correct this. There is nowhere in Montgomery County where a high school student can go to receive reading tutoring. And don't
That's
mention
what-
Sylvia Learning Center. That's $50 an hour.
Reading.
Bruner Literacy Center, they start at 19 and over. Nowhere in Montgomery County.
Here's a
If a high
question.
school student comes to us and said, we have trouble reading, we need reading tutoring, there's nowhere in Montgomery County. So think about that for graduation
There's no
rate.
association or no connection
We just create our own.
through individuals.
I mean, we take we're not educators. We go to the library and just try to create our own. Forget Young Life, just think about Dayton Public Schools with say 3,000 high school students, 3,000 to 4,000 high school students. And if one of them says, I need help with reading children, there's nowhere in the county. So if anybody wants to start having conversations on how to correct that with the American Relief Package money that's coming into place, and you're sitting with people who make those decisions, please bring that up and give them my telephone number.
Should this be a private, what you're suggesting, the tutoring program,
Yes,
should this be privately instigated or publicly?
it could be,
Of course, you don't care either.
yeah,
You read,
it
you read.
doesn't exist. I've been doing this, I've been involved in the school system since 2007. I was a PTA president for 7 years, for 5 years, and I actually worked with Dayton Public Schools before, and I volunteer now.
So you need math training.
I need math training or math tutors.
You just said either 5 years or 7 years.
No, for 5 years was a PTA president for 5 years.
Well, okay.
I got you.
Before he spills off.
Okay.
I have a question from Khadijah.
Yes,
Can volunteers be of other faiths?
yes.
That's what I said,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions.
Let me be clear. We don't care who teaches, think about it. Go ahead. We have kids drowning. We're not caring who jumps in the water to
Save them,
save
right,
them.
right.
Thank you.
In response to Khadijah's question, can volunteers be of other faiths? But one of the things that attracts me to DUIL is that it's faith-centered, a Christian-centered organization. I happen to be a member of the Jewish faith, but I'm very, very comfortable with DUIL because anytime anyone has a relationship with or is guided by moral precepts of any faith, that person has a responsibility to something of a higher power, a responsibility to others. And frankly, I am totally uprooted with DUIL, and we would encourage volunteers.
Before you said that, I even chatted, and I says, of course. I says, you're on the committee. And it makes sense because we all have the same vibe.
Yeah, that's true. And I
One
was
of my biggest
thinking it
worries
as I
in
wrote
life
out
is
in my head.
the churches the population of churches are coming way down. I mean, the children are not attending churches. And how are they gonna know about a higher power of God? How are they gonna know? I mean, my whole family was church-based at one time. I was 40 people, now 38, I'm marked.
Another
How does this happen?
true story. May 2019, I'm doing a Bible study class, Central State University. There's 51 high school students, okay, for the Bible study class. And before that, 3 kids had died in a traffic accident in Troutwood. So the kids was like, what's, heaven, hell, this, that. Where did we come from? One kid actually asked me, where did we come from? So I did a Bible study lesson, May 2019, Adam and Eve, 51 kids there. Out of 51 kids, only 3 high school students had ever heard of Adam and Eve.
Oh.
There was 48 kids there had never heard of Adam and Eve.
Oh,
And And that was a jolt of lightning to me, to say like, I need to row this boat even harder. And at that point, it's like, it took on an urgency, like, here's kids, like, and my question is to them, you didn't even Google, like, who the first people on earth? And they was like, what for? I mean, you know, we just living in this bubble of information that surrounds it. So.
Whenever I get a family member or child near me,
Very.
I sing that Johnny Appleseed song, "The Lord is good to me." And so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord is good to me. And I thank it. I sing it enough so we're remember. Because I think when you've got hard times with one of those songs, come on, Jesus loves me, any of those songs, but they're not learning them because they're not-
That's because
they're not learning.
of a lot of our parents, they're not attending church, and grandma is not attending church. So that's the makeup of the large percentage of the kids we work with. So we're the gospel share. And what's sad about it is they don't have a church home to grow in their faith, you know, in a sense. So.
I'd like to say one other thing. Our house was recently hit by a tornado, and we've been in June, we had a whole lot of wood to be carried in. They got some workers off of Germantown Street to come work on our house. And I said, have you had a good day? And that man looked at me, he said, any day I get off Germantown is a good day for me. And I'm thinking here, like you're saying, they don't leave where they were born. They don't go away. And that just gave me chills when an adult man says, any day I get off Germantown Street is a good day for me.
That's an object lesson because we're trying to find
Yeah. Here's something that's like the kids love. With my mentees, before the pandemic, I would take them to Home Depot and travel on Saturdays. They have classes to show you how to put cabinets together, how to install a toilet, how to, you know, and it's like, we could go there, stop at McDonald's, get something for breakfast, attend that class, and for the next 2 hours, they can learn how to install a toilet. The good thing about it is they're picking up a skill. The bad thing about it is they have no place to install a toilet because they live in the projects. You know, if something goes bad there, you call a number, and hope something happens. You know? So, and I'm good for lunch for anybody that.
We're gonna go to lunch, we'll
Yeah.
schedule that today, I
Okay.
would like to. So I noted at the beginning you were talking about being kind of diversionary. Are you involved with juvenile court kids? at
Yes,
all?
I speak with them every other week at Mount Enid.
Okay, for the Eagle Reporting Center,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
What about?
And
any
they're the
youth that
same
come
kids
to
that
you?
do the bike rides with us, yes.
Okay. So I would like to talk to you about the youth that we have at our facility.
Okay.
Specifically for that. And do you partner with Darren Bell for the music stuff?
Not for the music stuff, but I have worked with him in the past. I would ask him to, in my volunteering at school, he would come in when he's not busy to do things, music, piece with the kids, yes.
In talking with the sheriff before we started having lunch, so we received a donation of 15 Big Dragons tickets for the group outing on the 1st of September that we would be happy to provide you with.
Raising my hand.
Yeah, so we'll schedule a time. for
Okay.
lunch and I'll get that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Is this?
I want to thank everybody.
Yes, I was a volunteer up until
Wait a minute, let's-
July
hold
of 2 years ago.
What you did prior to this?
Dayton Public
Khadijah, you're
Schools.
gonna
I
have
was
to
I was
speak
a
very
worked at
loud.
Dayton Public
Can't hear you.
Schools and
Okay,
as a freshman transition coordinator. My job was to, if you had a freshman coming into the high school I was at, I would drive to your house, knock on your door and hand you a packet of information about the school and answer all your questions that you had about the school. And then once your kid comes into the school, I was their babysitter for that whole school year.
Are you a native Dayton?
No, I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana.
Uh,
Gary, Indiana.
Here.
Malcolm,
Yes, I knew
Khadijah.
Michael Jackson.
Khadijah has something to say. Khadijah?
yes, I want to thank you so much. This was a very interesting program. I will be in contact with you because I feel that there's a lot of things that my agency, can do.
Can you call me today?
Yes, I can. Just give me your number. I'll
Give
get
her
your
your
number
number.
from DJ.
937
937.
760 0357. And you can call all the way up until midnight. My wife does not care. I'm being serious. I'm
No,
being serious.
I'm the same way. I'm the same
Okay,
way.
she's not, yeah, she knows this is a mission, so,
She does a lot of volunteers.
okay.
Say that again.
937 760 0357.
It's on this card.
It's on the card and it's on the last page of that folder that I gave you. But anyway, if that worked best for you.
Can you see that?
I will.
A little bit. Well, I've got
Can you
the
see it now?
number.
By the way, when you pay, when you leave, you go to the front desk to pay. They
Oh,
don't
that's
collect the
right.
money
I
at
forgot
the-
about that. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Are we all finished?
It was an awesome program.
Yes, thank you very, very much. So we're all finished, anybody can leave, except I'm gonna stay and eat my salad. Eat your sandwich.
Did you say 50?